Welcome to the Growth Mode Podcast, where real conversations fuel real business growth. Hosted by Nina Labbe, media strategist with Salem Surround. Get ready to listen, learn, and grow. This is Growth Mode.
What if the most intense moments of your life, fear, pressure, uncertainty, became the very experiences that shaped your purpose? Today on Growth Mode, we're stepping into a world most people never see. The intersection of law enforcement, justice, and second chances. My guest is Sal Martinez, owner of Freedom Bail Bonds and author of the newly released book, NARC Agent. It's a raw, eye-opening book that looks into undercover narcotics work and the realities behind the system. We're going to be talking about what inspired him to write the book, the lessons he learned working undercover especially, and how that experience shaped his approach to helping people today, and what business owners can learn about trust, visibility, and reputation from operating in high-stakes environments. This episode is powerful, thought-provoking, and full of real-world perspective. Let's dive in. Sal, welcome to Growth Mode. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Nina.
I'm so excited to hear about your story. You've got quite the story to tell. So you got to tell us what inspired you to enter law enforcement and then later the bail bonds industry.
Sure. I was born and raised in El Paso, Texas. I was focused on being an accountant. I was really good in math, but I decided something caught my eye about people in the area, that they were living in really nice houses and in nice cars, and I'm thinking, wait a second, we were a lower income family, and it motivated me to see something's wrong here, so I ended up wanting to get into law enforcement. I said, this isn't fair. My family and all my friends were everyday blue-collar workers, and these people are making all this money and living the high life. And I said that kind of inspired me and sparked to get into law enforcement. I said, well, you know what, I think I need to be a crime fighter. So that's what, and on top of that, then I started watching a program called Miami Vice.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, that looks like fun. So ended up becoming a state trooper and a DA agent.
Wow. Was it everything you thought it would be?
And more. More. I did. I went through. I was a real shy kid. I really was. And then as I became a state trooper, I had the big cowboy hat, and we had the old 357 Magnums. So I'd be walking around down in the Floresville, Texas area, and then my confidence built as law enforcement. In law enforcement, again, you see a lot of negativity, but at the same time, you inspire and help people out. So I think that's what kind of built the foundation of where I am today. Right.
Wow. So how did your time as a narcotics agent shape the way you see people and second chances?
You know that working undercover, I was working in El Paso. I was very successful, one of the most successful agents in the area. Everything from tons of coke, tons of marijuana, pounds of black tar heroin. We would do buy busts. What that would do is we primarily used informants. Informants are the key to a lot of investigations. The dirtier the informant, the better and the deeper we can get into these organizations. So the basic ones were buy bust. We would buy the drugs from the bad guy, and then we'd arrest them. And then from there we would play tag. We'd ask them, okay, you're going to go to prison, or you need to go and tell me whose stuff this is. So we would go up the chain, and that's how we play tag.
Yeah.
And that was one of the parts. It built confidence in myself also to be somebody else. I was a different person than from the original shy kid from the streets of El Paso.
Wow. All right. So at what point did you realize that your experiences needed to be shared in a book?
I wrote NARC Convictions of an Undercover Agent because I had some extraordinary stories. You talk to any law enforcement officer, they can tell you some crazy stories. Every day they see unusual things, extreme, negative, positive. But mine had something beyond just everyday situations of law enforcement. I went in deeper in also highlighting the mentality of law enforcement officers and the bureaucracies that they're working under, especially now. They're under a great amount of scrutiny not only within their own agencies, but with the public.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. And the book, it's called NARC Agent, and we'll get into that a little bit, but because we want to talk more about your story. You've got an amazing story to tell. Yes, go get the book NARC Agent. It's available on Amazon.
It's on Amazon for $19.99.
Awesome.
There's
awesome.
a significance to that amount, but like I said, I'm not in it for the money. I just wanted to tell my story. And the actual title is called NARC Convictions of an Undercover Agent. I had to change the title because the Department of Justice was not happy that I used a DEA badge on it, so I ended up using a different cover. If you notice on the website, that there's cocaine and a gun and money, and that's pretty much what I was dealing with.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's get into lessons, from your undercover work. What are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about undercover narcotics work?
Well, there's a lot more than just excitement every day. There were some times of extreme adrenaline rush. Whenever I'd work in Mexico, I was told to work over there and not document a lot of the stuff because we were not supposed to be operating over there. I was working with Mexican cops, and we would develop certain investigations, and I got to see the Mexican version of the law enforcement techniques over there, and they were not pretty.
Wow, what was your initial impression of the Mexican law enforcement?
They were not getting the funding that our American system was providing them. Multi-million-dollar packages of law enforcement, and all of that was kept at the top by the upper echelon. It was never trickled down to the working agents. So there were a lot of times us in El Paso, our office was providing them with financial assistance for housing, for cars, for ammunition. Wow. It was ridiculous, and it was just very frustrating that we were over there trying to help these guys, and they also wanted to be crime fighters, but their own government was keeping them from being effective. So we were kind of helping them out financially, and also we were teaching them that a lot of these guys were men and women were trying to do the good thing for their own country, but the system itself was holding them down.
Wow, oh gosh, that's sad.
Yeah, and it still happens. It happens in a lot of these third world countries. We're providing them multi-million-dollar packages for law enforcement efforts, and it's not working.
So how did working, say, in high-pressure situations change your mindset and your leadership style?
Well, I was humbled. I had an AK-47 in my face 4 different times while I was working in Mexico, and when you have a situation where you got a gun in your face, and my defense mechanism kicked in. Yeah. So I use that now. I have a wall around me. So the defense mechanism regarding that machine gun in my face, most people say, "Hey, don't shoot me" and stuff. Yeah. I didn't. I would turn it on in Spanish, and I would shoot them. I said, "Get that thing out of my face," and I want to talk to your supervisor right now, and you don't know who I am. And I wasn't trying to be brash. I was just trying, again, to show them, hey, wait a second, you're making a mistake, and it's going to be a critical mistake if you shoot a DEA agent, especially in Mexico. And there was one situation where we had an operation in Juarez, and there was multiple DEA agents working with a special unit of Mexican federal cops, and we're about to we're setting up surveillance on Amado Carrillo Fuentes. He was supposed to show up to a wedding over there, and we were in a nearby shopping center surrounding we were ready to move in on the ceremony and get this drug kingpin. And next thing you know is we all had kids pull up next to us with machine guns, hitting the window, and we had multiple agents. These were young kids working for the local authority or local cops there, and they were. They told us to get out of the vehicles, and I had a Mexican comandante next to me, and I had my gun with me, and I had a little submachine gun behind me, and I wanted to react and get it and shoot him, but by then I would have got killed. And so the comandante knocked some sense into me. He said, "Let it go, Sal. Don't do anything. Just wait." So after about maybe 3-4 minutes, it seemed like an eternity with a machine gun in your face. All the agents, something happened, and the comandante told them to drop the guns, and they all lower the guns and take off.
Yeah.
So I said, wait a second, we would have had a mass murder of multiple DA agents on that operation. And again, very few people know about that.
Wow, gosh. Wow. I don't even know what to say to that, because that's, talk about stress, right?
And that was one of the exciting times. There was multiple times that high-speed chases and even going back to highway patrol. When I was a state trooper, I would see the worst in situations where I go to a house or help out local authorities, and there's a fight going on, family members, and you see the house is all torn apart. The kids, they're poor. The kids are in diapers, and it's very for a law enforcement officer to see that frequently. It does tarnish a little bit of your faith in people, because you're wondering, hey, these people don't have much, but they're putting their kids in this type of situation. So that was frustrating. On the other end, it was exciting to help people out on even changing a tire. I mean, at the old days, you could pull over, help somebody on the side of the road, and I would get out there and I'd change their tire. You can't do that anymore. Times have changed. It's very sad.
Gosh, wow. So what skills from undercover work still serve you today, like as a business owner?
After 15 years of being in law enforcement, in the last over 15 years now, I'm a bail bondsman. So I've been to both extremes of the criminal justice system. So after putting them in, now I'm helping them understand the system. So regarding the bail bond business, I could go on and about how I enlighten people.
Well, speaking of your bail bonds business, what led you to start Freedom Bail Bonds, and what was that transition like?
That's something in the book. Again, if you want to see it, NARC Convictions of an Undercover Agent, there was a career change due to circumstances, and I think, like I said, we'll let the reader decide how what they think about that transition. However, being in the bail bond business, it's all about risk. So every day I get calls and say, "Can you get my husband out of jail? And what's the situation?" Well, we got into a fight, and they arrested him for assault. And okay, so I said, okay, but are you safe? My priority is the victim or anybody related to that. So I'll make sure I do follow-up calls before I get that person out. And on the other side of the risk part is, if they don't show up to court, I'm liable for the amount of the bond. So the bonds could be anywhere from $1,000 to $150,000. I have a financial backer who will take care of me on those bonds, because I don't have that kind of money. So what I'll do is I'll get them out, and I'll just bond companies generally charge 10%. And you'll hear gimmicks about, it's 1% or 2%. Don't fall for it. It's generally 10% or even more. And some of these bond companies, unfortunately, will take advantage of people's circumstances and take it for more money than just the 10%. So I tell people, straight up how much it's going to be, and I even give discounts on some of my bonds.
Okay, wow. So how does your background give clients confidence, like during one of the most, stressful moments of their lives?
Sure. And the first thing they think about when they get arrested is, do I need to get an attorney? What do I do? And I'll tell them step by step. And not only that, after the case can last years, so I walk them throughout the whole process, and I don't give them legal advice, but I do enlighten them and tell them, this is what you need to do, these are your options, talk to your attorney, but initially we need to get them out. So let's say the situation I just said, a lady calls me about her husband, I end up bonding him out, the bond is $10,000, we'll charge her $1,000, but I'll do payment plans. And from there, she also has to sign a piece of paper, a promissory note, to be liable for the $10,000. So if her husband doesn't show up to court, I'm going to be suing her, and I'll be going after her. She'll be my primary source on this whole negotiation and contract, because she's going to be liable for that. So I emphasize that to the people that I'm getting them out. You're more important to me than the person in jail.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So what makes Freedom Bail Bonds different, from others in the industry? I know you said some others like to charge cheaper, and, obviously cheaper isn't always better, but what makes you different?
I take it personal. I know the system, how it works, everything from being a top prosecutor in law enforcement, and going through the system, understanding the prosecutorial part. On the other end, now I tell them what their options are on the defense side. The defense attorneys will let them know the legal options, but I let them know this is what you got to be aware of, and again, I give them a heads up of what they're about to experience, because these cases can last years. I mean, somebody gets arrested today, they got to get bonded out, they got to get their vehicle out of towing, they've got to look for an attorney, and I just tell them that public defenders are probably the best option if you're financially strapped. And then from there, if you hire an attorney, they'll line them along the way of what their legal options are. But again, I just give them more of a personal aspect, because I wasn't a law enforcement. Now I'm a defense on the defense side.
Right. So speaking of like trust, reputation, in the community, in your line of work, trust is everything. How do you build that quickly with clients?
Well, first I introduce myself as a former law enforcement officer. I want them to know that I know where they're at, and I tell them about what law enforcement authorities were thinking when they made the traffic stop. A lot of people are saying, well, why did they pull me over? I mean, I wasn't speeding, or, I was almost home, and they got me for evading arrest. And I said, well, this is what cops are thinking. So I tell them on some of these scenarios what I would have been thinking at the time. And I tell them now, as on this end of law enforcement, you can understand our system is guilty till proven innocent, Nina. Right now, I mean, if you get arrested, everything's going to happen based on whatever the complainant said, what the officer wrote down in the report, what the judge thought at the time of it, with the magistrate, in which they read them their rights and set the bond amount. And then from there, the prosecutor, either the county attorney or the district attorney, they're going to look at all this paperwork and say, okay, this guy's we're going to either pursue a prosecution based on what a grand jury says, or whatever the judges decide on eventually the outcome of this. So that's the whole uphill battle of our system right now.
I can see how that builds trust, because you coming from the other side of looking at it from the law enforcement side, you're able to share that perspective on so they can look at it that way and understand why they're in the situation that they're in. So how important is community presence and visibility in a business like yours?
In the bond business, we're authorized in certain counties. I started, like I said, a little 15 years ago, and I knew a lot of the law enforcement people in Wilson County and Atascosa, and even in Karnes. So I was working like 5 different counties by myself. And I would go introduce myself to the local authorities and also to the judges, so they know who I am. A lot of them know where I came from and what has happened to me and why I'm doing what I'm doing now. So again, I whenever, in fact, a lot of the law enforcement officers or judges will refer, hey, call Sal, because if they're in trouble, because they don't know about the other bond companies, and actually they do know a lot about the other bond companies. But I take it personal, and I do give a personal and intimate attention to my clients.
What role does education play in helping families understand the bail process?
For me, so I had I majored in criminal justice, and again, I know the system not only through educational aspects, but also personal experience. A lot of these other bond companies have, let's just say, assistants handling the phone calls, handling the decision-making, whereas the owners really don't have any personal contact with a lot of their clients. So I do. I take like I said, I take my calls, and I'm very select. I don't, because our business is based on risk, and I don't want to be losing sleep overnight if somebody's running on me. That's when I become a bounty hunter. I'll start doing using my old law enforcement tactics and doing surveillance, and I go talk to the neighbors. I'll talk to business owners. I'll look on Facebook, and that's the first place I find my fugitives.
You put your detective hat on.
That's right. I go back to my old law enforcement. And I'll do, like I said, I'll sit out there surveillance, and what I'll do is I'll allow the local authorities to make the arrest. And I'll have them on my speed dial. Hey, Bexar County Sheriff's Office, there's a fugitive over here on so-and-so location, and they'll help me arrest my fugitive.
All right. So how are people currently finding you? It just referrals, word of mouth?
Yeah, and living in the small towns like that, in Floresville and all the smaller communities, reputation is very important over there, not only in my business, but in whatever they're doing. And the last name of a person will tell you a lot of who they run with or what the reputation is like that. So in a small town, it's very important. So when I first started, I would go to the local bars. I'd be passing out business cards. Hey, you better call Sal, Freedom Bail Bonds. And hey, can I get around for everybody? So I would do that. And then, again, talking more about the professional aspect, the chiefs of police, the sheriffs, and the judges and law enforcement, I keep somewhat of a rapport with them.
So, share another story that has really stayed with you that, that maybe perhaps you think about a lot.
I think going back to some of the times with being an undercover agent were, again, exciting for me. And I said, anybody trying to get into law enforcement, you got to be real careful about our system right now, like I said, because there's a lot of scrutiny. But for the old days, it was pretty much you can do what you wanted to do. And again, just we didn't have the cameras on us. We did some stuff that was off the books and below the radar. But again, working undercover and getting tons of coke and marijuana off the streets, I was very successful with that. So, again, there's a lot of stories there. And like I said, it's in the book, NARC Convictions of an Undercover Agent.
Yeah, I love it. All right. So before we wrap up, where can listeners learn more about the book and connect with you or Freedom Bail Bonds?
So Freedom Bail Bonds, I have the website based out of Floresville. There's multiple Freedom Bail Bonds throughout the state. I have no affiliation with them. I just do this by myself. And as for the book itself, in fact, I came out on National Geographic's program, Locked Up Abroad, and I got a call from a voice in London that says, "Hello, this is Hattie from London. Salvador, we want to do a story on you." I said, "Yeah, right. Who's this?"
Yeah.
So she was one of the producers for a program that came out on international television, so I got a little bit of international attention based on my story and my book.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, Sal, gosh, thank you so much for all your insight and for being a guest on Growth Mode. It's been so, eye-opening into the line of work that you do and the line of work that you did. I admire you.
Thank you. So I was going to tell you, if you look at narc-agent.com, that's probably the best website to catch about my book and also a little bit more about my background. Again, there's a twist at the end of the book, so I'm not going to say anything about it yet to your audience, but again, if they want to read the book, it's fun. It's in my words. There may be a few misspelled words, but I hope I don't bore them.
All right. And go ahead and name the website again for the book.
Yeah, NARC at ARC-agent.com.
And Freedom Bail Bonds.
Freedom Bail Bonds. If somebody gets in trouble, better call Sal.
All right. Awesome. Well, big thanks to Sal Martinez for joining me today and sharing such a powerful behind-the-scenes look at his journey from undercover narcotics work to business ownership and authorship. We talked about the realities of trust, leadership under pressure, the lessons behind his new book, NARC Convictions of an Undercover Agent, and how those experiences now guide the way he helps people through some of the toughest moments of their lives. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss a conversation that that challenges your perspective and helps you to grow. And if you're a business owner, and especially in an industry where trust, reputation, and visibility matter, I'd love to help you strengthen how your story shows up online and in the community. I do offer a special Get Found, Get Heard package that combines organic SEO with targeted radio, and it's designed to help your brand build credibility, drive traffic, and generate real results. We'll take a look at where you are and how you can grow, whether that's through SEO, digital ads, or getting found locally. There's no pressure at all, just real solutions designed to help you grow. And, of course, you can reach me anytime at growthmode@salemsurround.com, or you can call me at 210-526-3626. And until next time, keep moving forward and stay in growth mode.
Thanks for listening to the Growth Mode podcast with Nina Labbe. Stay connected, keep learning, and keep growing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you next time on Growth Mode.
Want to grow your business online and on the air? Right now, when you sign up for a 6-month organic SEO campaign at $3,100 a month, we'll include a free radio schedule 1 week per month for 6 months to help kickstart your visibility. That's a $5,000 value in radio advertising, designed to drive awareness and leads from day one. Don't miss it. Email Nina Labbe at growthmode@salemsurround.com or call 210-526-3626 to learn more.